I ranked NYC's most popular neighborhoods from worst to best on things to do, cost, location, and more. Even though I love them all, you need to know which neighborhoods are actually worth the trip. But only one can be the best, starting with Little Italy. You've definitely seen it on TVs and movies, The Pros. It's super compact, only a few blocks. It has tons of restaurants, pastry shops, and more. Tourists love it. It has an interesting history of immigration. It was once 30 blocks and now only a few left on Mulberry Street. There's also some great relics from the past, old local shops like E. Rossi & Company still hanging on that are definitely worth a visit. And the location, of course, it's in a great spot downtown. You can walk to Chinatown, you can walk to SoHo. It's really perfect for tourists. As for the cons, it's crowded because tourists love it, which means it could be tough to walk through. And while San Gennaro is great, if you go at a peak period during that festival, it'll be tricky to move. The food. There are some expensive restaurants, many of which aren't even Italian owned anymore, that really do cater to that tourist audience. My top pick in the area is Cafe Napoli. Definitely not a tourist trap, but unfortunately, there are some tourist traps in the neighborhood. There's also a lot of kitschy shops that you'll find there and around the corner on Canal Street. Again, it's showing you who this neighborhood caters to, definitely tourists. And it's expensive. I mean, while it's cheaper than neighboring SoHo, it's definitely not cheap. $4,200 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. Times Square. Now, it's debatable if this is even a real neighborhood, but it's definitely a destination, so let's just go with it. The Pros. It is a must visit. It's the one spot every tourist in New York will come to at least once, and you should. You are central to everything. The whole city and tri-state area connects close to Times Square, so you're never far from a train. It's also got the wow factor. The lights are bright. This is the New York from television and movies, even if locals avoid it like the plague. Big billboards, worth it for photos at least once in your life. As for the cons, it has a lack of neighborhood vibe. There's very few grocery stores, good restaurants and bars near here that aren't catered to out-of-towners. It's also chains galore. If you want Applebee's, the Olive Garden, tourist shops, this is where you go. Every scam in New York is here as well. We've done videos on the topic, and they all like to prey on newcomers. It's extremely crowded. Depending on time of year, it can be hard to even walk by without getting frustrated. It's the neighborhood all the locals love to hate. We won't even talk about rent here, as it's not known for having too many residential properties, but you can imagine the issues you'd run into living here. As one local described it, you're close to everything, but next to nothing. TriBeca, The Pros. It's star-studded. If you wanted to bump into a celebrity, this is the best neighborhood to do it. The lofts at 443 Greenwich Street have had Harry Styles, Justin Timberlake, Jennifer Lawrence, Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Meg Ryan, just a few who have owned there. It definitely has a vibe. The architecture is beautiful. You can find cobblestone streets. It's a favorite for photographers. It also has high-end restaurants. Now, there's not a ton of them, but many of them are famous steakhouses, French bistros, definitely made for people with refined palates and money. The cons. Lack of attractions. There's not too many sites here for tourists outside of the Ghostbuster house. The cost. It's obscenely expensive. The median rent is $6,350 a month, putting this at the top of most lists for highest rent in New York, and a reason why so many celebs and the wealthy are the majority of who you'd find here. The Financial District. We'll step into the world of finance bros and Patrick Bateman. The Pros. Tourist attractions. It's extremely underrated for tourists. Next to Battery Park, the National 9/11 Memorial and Museum, One World Observatory, Stone Street, the Charging Bull, and if you know where to look, some good food. There's tons of subway lines that converge down here. You can hop around the rest of Manhattan with ease. It's also less crowded. You actually have room to breathe here. You can find little side streets and alleyways and admire the lower Manhattan skyline without feeling like you're gonna be run over by other tourists. The cons. It's quiet. The place has been a lot quieter after COVID, with many employees going remote, fully or part-time. It's a ghost town at night, which is actually kind of cool depending how you look at it, but it is lacking in many restaurants open later because most of their business comes during working hours. There's a limited residential vibe. It has a more commercial corporate feel, and while there's been a rise in residential buildings, it lacks the neighborhood charm and community atmosphere of other areas. Chelsea, the pros. Location. Right below Midtown, you're as central as can be. The art scene is thriving with hundreds of galleries, tons of bars and clubs, and the city's top gay nightlife scene. The High Line is here, lots of subway access as well, tons of dining options. You've got a diverse food scene with upscale restaurants, casual cafes, and the iconic Chelsea Market, which is pricey but has some great spots. It also has architectural diversity. Chelsea's a mix of historic townhouses, converted warehouses, luxury high-rises, Art Deco buildings, giving it a unique character. As for the cons, it's noisy. It feels like the neighborhood's always under construction, and with so many nightlife options, that noise can run late. And it's crowded with attractions like the High Line, Chelsea Market, and art galleries drawing large numbers of tourists. It can make the area feel congested, especially on weekends. I've got the high cost of living. Chelsea's one of Manhattan's pricier neighborhoods. It's nearly $4,000 a month just to rent a studio here in 2024. Bushwick. 20 or 30 years ago, Bushwick would probably have been on a list of 20 worst neighborhoods of New York. Today, it's one of the city's most popular for young people. The pros, nightlife. It packs a serious punch. Hipster craft brew bars galore, nightclubs and more. House of Yes is one of the city's best venues. It's got a lot of activities from the tourist perspective, like the street art of the Bushwick Collective and surrounding area. They even have tours of them. There's also plenty of great places to eat. I enjoy Santa Salsa for their Venezuelan hot dogs. The cost of living, although this is changing rapidly, it's still relatively affordable compared to other, even more popular neighborhoods closer to Manhattan. Cons, gentrification. The rapid gentrification of Bushwick has led to rising rents and displacement of longtime residents, which has changed the neighborhood's character and led to tensions between newer and older residents. Also, safety. Some parts of Bushwick are less safe, especially at night and away from the main drag. It has a higher crime rate compared to other Brooklyn neighborhoods on the list. As for transportation, there's limited subway lines, primarily the L and M trains. You are not right next to Manhattan here. Bushwick also has many industrial areas and warehouses, which can create noise, especially near factories and auto repair shops. Additionally, nightlife can contribute to this, especially on weekends. SoHo, which is one of New York's most popular neighborhoods for tourists who want to unleash their inner Carrie Bradshaw. If you have money to spend, this is where you go. The pros, location. It's centrally located with easy access to Lower Manhattan. I mentioned upscale shopping. There's also art galleries, trendy cafes, and plenty of historic cast iron architecture if you want some sick photos. It's also generally safe with a pretty high police presence due to tourist activity. As for the cons, the rent is extremely high and living costs. A one-bedroom apartment starts at a hair under $5,000 a month. It's often crowded with tourists, especially during weekends and holidays, making it difficult for locals to enjoy the area. I used to live close to SoHo, and I dreaded walking on Broadway or any of the busier strips just because of how congested it was. The area is stuffed with expensive, albeit good restaurants, but it'll be tough to find cheaper places to eat and drink here. Williamsburg, Brooklyn's hipster mecca. This is a textbook definition of a neighborhood completely changing its image in the span of 20 years. The pros, the location. It's conveniently situated next to Manhattan with quick access across the East River via the L train and ferries. More about the L train in a little bit in the cons. Activities. This area is so trendy because of all the bars and restaurants here. It has so many quirky spots. My personal favorites are the burgers from Santa Fe BK, straight out of New Mexico. It may be the city's top neighborhood for nightlife if you're under 30. The vibe. It's a youthful, artistic scene with lots of unique shops and vendors. It's a flex at this point to say you live in Williamsburg. As for the cons, the trains are definitely one of them. Being reliant on the L, if it has any issues, you can feel stuck. And I've heard so many horror stories about this line breaking down. Just recently, passengers had to evacuate through a tunnel. I can't even make this up. The cost of living. Rent has skyrocketed here in recent years. The average studio apartment is almost $4,000 a month. This is more than many Manhattan neighborhoods even, which is a testament to just how popular Williamsburg has gotten. The neighborhood's known for its lively nightlife, which can be disruptive for residents, especially those living near bars, clubs, and music venues that operate late into the night. Also, the rapid gentrification in Williamsburg has significantly changed the neighborhood's character. This has led to tensions and a sense of loss of the area's original cultural diversity. And the popularity of Williamsburg has led to overcrowding, particularly around hotspots like Bedford Avenue and the waterfront. Tourists, locals, and new residents make some areas feel congested, especially during weekends. Hell's Kitchen. This definitely wins the award for best neighborhood name in New York. The pros: the location just west of Times Square, but close to Broadway theaters, Central Park, and the Hudson River, but just far enough from the madness where you can actually breathe and feel like you're not shoulder to shoulder with tourists in all directions. It has lots of diverse dining options, vibrant nightlife, and even some off-Broadway theaters, and it's generally safe overall with a few sketchy spots here or there. The cons: cost of living. It's expensive with lots of high-rise apartments dominating the area. Studios start at $3,500 a month. The proximity to Times Square, Broadway theaters, and major avenues like 9th and 10th make Hell's Kitchen pretty noisy, with constant traffic, honking, and general city bustle throughout the day and night. And the celebs who don't live here: Daredevil does not actually live in Hell's Kitchen, neither does Gordon Ramsay. I'm sorry to shatter your dreams. Next up, Chinatown. The pros: as far as budget eating is concerned, this is not just New York's, but America's best neighborhood, where $20 could feed you well between multiple spots, dumplings, noodles, and more. This is a foodie's paradise. It's close to touristy lower Manhattan neighborhoods like Little Italy, SoHo, and the financial district, so you will likely be in walking distance of here at some point. It's got authentic Asian markets, cultural events. It's always vibrant even inside the parks, and it's one of the more affordable neighborhoods in Manhattan, although not at all affordable by national standards. The cons: the streets can be very crowded, especially during weekends. Walking on Canal Street is like lower Manhattan's version of Times Square. It's generally safe, but it can feel a little chaotic and less maintained compared to other area neighborhoods. And unlike some other spots in Manhattan, Chinatown has very few parks and green spaces, which can be a drawback for residents looking for places to relax outdoors. Harlem. The pros: rich in African-American cultural history. It has museums, historic music venues, and excellent soul food restaurants. It also has really good African cuisine in general. Parts of Harlem have gorgeous brownstones. The neighborhood has a lot of style and flair. And the location: it's close to the northern part of Central Park, so easy access to recreation. It is more affordable compared to downtown Manhattan, although not at all cheap by any American standards. As for the cons: safety. Certain areas of Harlem are safer than others, but it has a higher crime rate overall than other neighborhoods on the list. And then the location: compared to the rest of Manhattan, it's a bit of a commute to anywhere south of Midtown, but if you're staying there as a tourist, it's not a huge strike against it. And then there's the rapid gentrification in Harlem, which has led to rising rent prices and the displacement of longtime residents. This change has created tension within the community and altered the neighborhood's character. The Upper West Side. The pros: it's beautiful. It's been in many movies for a reason. The brownstones and vibes are very elegant. Its location close to Central Park, Riverside Park, and Lincoln Center. It's got a lot of activities, cultural venues, museums like the Natural History, high-end dining, high-end shopping, and it's one of the safest neighborhoods in all of Manhattan. As for the cons: cost of living. It's got high rent and living expenses. There's less nightlife. It's quieter and more residential, so it's lacking that vibrant nighttime scene of downtown neighborhoods. There are bars, of course, but it isn't swarmed with partiers on weekends like the East Village. And the proximity to major streets like Broadway, Amsterdam, and Columbus Avenues means there can be heavy traffic and noise, particularly during rush hours and weekends. Midtown Manhattan. For the sake of this video, let's consider Midtown separate from Times Square. The pros: a location in the heart of the city with iconic landmarks like the Empire State Building and Rockefeller Center. Tons of activities, endless entertainment options, dining, theaters, shopping, and it's got excellent access to multiple subway lines, buses, and Grand Central. As for the cons: the cost of living. It's extremely high due to its central location. The average one-bedroom apartment is $4,200 a month. It's constantly crowded with tourists, which can be overwhelming, and it's a bit grimy. The area along 8th Avenue has seen better days. Unfortunately, you could run into people who are struggling with drug addiction and mental health issues, especially in front of Port Authority and Penn Station. DUMBO, Brooklyn. It's got gorgeous waterfront views and proximity to Manhattan via the Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges. Don't sleep on taking the ferry here from Manhattan. It's the best 5-minute ride in the city. This definitely competes for most beautiful neighborhood in New York. It's also got lots of activities for tourists: art galleries, parks, trendy cafes, and unique shops. And while it's more of a con, there are some food gems here if you know where to look. As far as safety, it's considered very safe with a pretty relaxed atmosphere. Cons: cost of living, very expensive, especially for Brooklyn. If you're living along the waterfront overlooking Manhattan, I don't think this is such a shocker. A one-bedroom will run you over $5,000 a month because there's very limited real estate here. There's also limited food options. While there is the Time Out New York Market and a few legendary spots in DUMBO, it still lacks the concentration of food options you'd find in many other areas of the city. It's very crowded. Just see how many people walk the Brooklyn Bridge every day. They're gonna finish somewhere. DUMBO is the one neighborhood in Brooklyn that the majority of tourists will visit at some point, and there's less of a nightlife scene here compared to other neighboring areas of Brooklyn. This is a spot that definitely appeals more to tourists and locals moving to New York for the first time. The East Village, one of New York's most iconic neighborhoods. The pros, the vibe, it's bohemian, artistic, attracting a younger crowd. It's been like that for decades. Many argue that it's getting too commercialized, which I can understand, but this is one of the top neighborhoods for newcomers to New York for very good reason. The location is central in Manhattan with easy access to other vibrant neighborhoods like Greenwich Village and the Lower East Side. The activities, it's known for its eclectic nightlife, music venues, vintage shops, and diverse food scene. And I mentioned the food, since the buildings are so packed in, there's a never-ending supply of places to eat at all budgets here, and it runs late into the night as well, especially around St. Mark's. The cons: transportation. Depending where you live in the neighborhood, you may be a bit of a hike from the nearest subway. It's not as connected as other areas of the city. Being a nightlife mecca, I would be impressed if you could find a spot that didn't have some kind of issue with people being loud late into the night. Some areas do feel a little bit sketchy, particularly later on in the evening. And the cost of living, it's an expensive, in-demand neighborhood popular with 20-somethings. Especially considering the size of apartments, you'll be lucky to get 500 square feet here for a one-bedroom. And the apartments come in all kinds of weird layouts. Astoria, Queens. This is quietly becoming the most popular neighborhood in Queens. The pros: the location, well connected to Manhattan by the subway, the N and W lines, rich in cultural diversity with a mix of ethnic restaurants, cafes, and bars. It's also home to the Museum of the Moving Image and Astoria Park. It has a great mix of trendy food spots and the best Greek food you'll find in the US. Plenty of other ethnic varieties all over. Now, while rent is definitely going up, it is more affordable than most Manhattan neighborhoods, especially for the space. The average one-bedroom is $28.50. The cons: nightlife-wise, it definitely has a nightlife scene, but it's less intense compared to Brooklyn or Manhattan hotspots. Transportation: the options are somewhat limited to a few lines, and on the weekends, that can always be an issue when you're reliant on just a couple. And then there's noise. You're not far from LaGuardia, so depending where you are, that could be a problem. Brooklyn Heights. This is the most beautiful neighborhood in New York, in my opinion. It offers stunning views of the Manhattan skyline from the promenade and easy access to Lower Manhattan. Of course, the brownstone-lined streets don't hurt. If you ever want to feel poor, just walk around here for an hour. It's also got lots of activities. Brooklyn Bridge Park is just down the hill, and while not full of restaurants, there's enough to keep you occupied as a visitor. It's very safe and family-friendly. The cons: the biggest one is the cost of living. This is one of the priciest areas in all of New York. Renting a two-bedroom will average you almost $9,000 a month. I can't imagine most of you watching this have that kind of budget. I know I don't. It may feel too quiet for those seeking a more lively atmosphere, and I think this is an amazing family-friendly spot, but it's probably the last place I'd tell a single person in their 20s to move to. And parking: if you drive, good luck with it. I'll leave it at that. Jackson Heights, Queens, my sleeper pick of this video. The pros: food, and more food. If you had to pick one neighborhood to drop me off for an entire day with a goal to eat the world's most diverse food, Jackson Heights is the winner. And if you need a really good food tour of Jackson Heights, book a tour with one of my most popular co-hosts, Greg. You're on a straight shoot on the 7 train to Manhattan. The Roosevelt Avenue station has a ton of connections, 6 different lines. The cost of living: it's more affordable compared to many Manhattan and Brooklyn neighborhoods, although that is quickly changing. As for the cons: quality of life, there's some parts along Roosevelt Avenue that have been getting negative publicity due to open prostitution and illegal vendors. There's also stolen goods that are sold out in the open. While the main subway station here has a ton of options, it's still a longer commute to Midtown Manhattan than most of the neighborhoods on this list. The neighborhood's really densely populated, and certain avenues like Roosevelt have a ton of noise from the subway and all the car traffic. And then cleanliness: course, with a high population density and a lot of foot traffic, some parts of Jackson Heights can suffer from litter and cleanliness issues, particularly along commercial streets. Number 2, the Lower East Side. Pros: the location close to SoHo, Chinatown, and the East Village. It's got pretty good train connectivity. The food: it has some of the oldest and most famous eateries in New York, like Katz's Deli, Russ and Daughters, and Jonas Schimmel's, just to name a few, and then plenty of new, trendier spots. It has some activities for tourists. You can tour the Tenement Museum. The neighborhood also runs late into the night and has some of the most active nightlife in the city. The vibe in general, it's hip and artsy and definitely attracts a younger demographic. I don't think it still has that grungy reputation of the 70s and 80s though. It's been very commercialized. On to the cons: cost of living. It's very high, especially for apartments in newer buildings. Safety-wise, generally safe, but can feel less so late at night in certain spots. The Lower East Side is known for its lively nightlife with numerous bars, clubs, and restaurants, so while this is a draw for some, it also means noise from late-night revelers, music, street traffic, which can be disruptive to residents trying to get some sleep. With its heavy foot traffic, nightlife scene, and abundance of restaurants, the LES can suffer from issues related to trash, litter, and less than ideal street cleanliness. My number 1 pick: Greenwich Village. Now, I could be a little biased as I spent almost a decade living there. The pros: the location. Its iconic location in downtown Manhattan, near Washington Square Park, NYU, and SoHo, and living next to the West 4th Street subway station is one of the tops in the whole city. They've got the A, C, E, B, D, F, and M trains under one roof. The neighborhood is known for its charming tree-lined streets, historic brownstones, cobblestone pathways, hence its nickname as the Village, as in some areas you do get that feel. Got so many activities: boutique shops, historic homes, diverse restaurants at all budgets. You can find great cheap and late night bites. Also a very active nightlife with comedy clubs to boot, live music. You'll never get bored here as a tourist or a local. And the walkability, it's very compact and stuffed with places to explore. Everything you need is a few minutes away, and I mentioned Washington Square Park, but I'll mention it again. Definitely one of the coolest parks in all of New York. As for the cons, it's very expensive with high rent and living costs. A studio starts at $4,250. This neighborhood shows no signs of slowing down. The apartments are tiny. The average person living in this neighborhood probably has multiple roommates and lives in a 350 square foot shoebox, just like I used to save money. It can be crowded due to its popularity among tourists and locals alike. I'd walk out my door when I lived there to people taking photos of the street, and because it runs so late, you have people shouting late into the night. And then quality of life. Lately, walking around the area, I do definitely sense a bit more sketchiness, even during the daylight hours. Mostly people under the influence or struggling with mental health issues. Those were New York's most popular neighborhoods ranked worst to best, and these are the 15 best NYC budget meals since you've probably worked up an appetite after walking around all these neighborhoods. Watch this next for some of New York's best cheap eats.